If your skies are getting muddy, what you should do, as I mentioned in my email also, is try to not go back and overwork your paintings. So for that, I will show you today what I exactly do. Now, first thing first, I'm going to mix my colors. Let me just mix the colors. So first color that I'm using is ultramarine blue. It's my blue. The next color I'm going to use is going to be my transparent orange. You could use Indian yellow, you could use transparent orange, whatever you would like. We'll use very sparingly. Then I'm going to use a lot of pink, gray or indigo for the drama in the sky. If you don't have this color, don't worry. What you could also do, and that helps in my paintings, is I use burnt sienna and I mix this with my ultramarine blue. So it helps keep the the cohesiveness of the painting. It doesn't look like it doesn't belong there. So I use these colors for the sky. And then for the touch of red, you could either use vermilion or you could use depending on what you're going for. If you're going for a lot of brightness, you could use vermilion, or if you want a little more softness and you need little pinks and purples in your sky, you could use alizarin crimson or any crimson. So I'm going to mix all of it so that we can then not overthink when we are painting. So once you have your colors mixed up, you don't end up thinking much while you're painting. So now let's cut to our painting. So let's start painting. The first step is to wet your paper. To avoid muddy skies, the most important thing is to not go back and let the watercolor do its thing. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. We will probably not paint the foreground. I'm just going to focus on the sky today. Take a deep breath, because this isn't difficult. It's just about training your brain on how to let go. So first I'm going to start with the horizon line. I'm going to put yellow here. See, I'm not forcing anything. I'm letting it do its thing. Next, I will go in with my vermilion and let it blend. Nothing here is forced. Getting into alizarin crimson. If you think you didn't mix enough, you just have to go back in, because your paint is still wet and your paper is still wet. You're fine. You see, this is what I'm saying. You don't need to overwork any of your layers. Very light-handedly, just move across the paper. That's it. And when you think they are not blending properly, all you need to do is tilt it a bit. That's all it takes for watercolor to blend. And always go in with a clean brush so that you don't lose the transparency, as well as you don't by mistake enter a clear yellow or a you don't kind of mix and match where it's not needed. So always go in with a clean brush to create the blends. Now I'm going to go in with my blue. There is no forcing watercolor. Now I'm going to do a little tilt, and with a clean brush, I'm going to just run my brush over ever so lightly so that it blends. Now why I have to do this is because my brush didn't have enough moisture or water in it. I'm going with a slightly drier brush now with the darkest value, which we mixed here, which is ultramarine and burnt sienna. I am just dropping the paint in there, not overworking it. If you need to mix more of it, you can go ahead and do it. I don't like to mix in the middle because it generally ruins my rhythm of painting, because then you have to try and match the pigment, see if it is working. I don't like to do that, so I try to mix my pigments early on. I again apologize for this disturbance. Now when I'm mixing this, right, I am not going to go back and try to blend everything. So there is no muddiness, there is nothing. I'm just going to tilt my paper a bit, and with my clear brush I'm going to lift the paint where I want to. So if you see in my painting, there is a sense of movement in the sky. So here is what I'm going to do. Just watch. I'm just going to, because my paper is still damp, just going to create that movement. And not worry. Never going in again and doing the mixing for the paint. I'm always going to be of the opinion that let the paint mix on its own. I'm not going to do the work for the watercolor. Now this part, again, when you think it's not blending, it's actually blending. You have to give it its time. So you see it is actually blending in, and my paper is still wet. All I can do is I can mix a little bit of alizarin and then and that's the sky. So all I did is I just pulled down the same thing on the bottom for the painting, which was my second layer, and I dried the entire paper. That's all I did. And you see this this granulation that you're getting is because we used burnt sienna and ultramarine, and they both granulate and separate on the paper. So if you want to avoid this, you should go in for you should go in for indigo or Payne's gray. But if you like this, right, you should definitely try the ultramarine blue and burnt sienna mix. If you want more more of bluish tone, you should go in with more of ultramarine in your mix rather than burnt sienna. So like, play with the proportions. But just to avoid the muddiness, I would say do not overwork your skies. You really need to not make your brush work, but your paper do the work for you, and the flow of watercolor. So that's it. And let me know if you have more questions, and if you want me to paint some different kind of a sky for you, and if you have a reference to share, I'm happy to do that for you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this demo today. It was, hopefully it kind of demystified the cloudy skies or the dramatic skies for you a bit.